In this video we're going to install the extended fuel tank side covers from Advent Black on my 2016 Harley-Davidson Road Glide Ultra. Man, I am stoked because this thing's going to really give this bike that custom bagger look, and we're really on our way to turning this thing into something special. So we're going to get into that. There's a few things we need to do first. I'll walk you through the whole thing. Welcome to Touring Midwest. So I'm Andrew, and we're in the middle of the Road Glide refresh project here, which was only supposed to go through the winter, but we're well into the spring now, and I still continue to keep getting parts coming. So we're just throwing them at this bike. We've done a ton of stuff to this thing over the last, 8 months, and we're not stopping yet. So we've got the extended fuel tank covers. We're going to put those on. The two things that we need to do first of all is I have a paint chip in my tank. It's been there for a long time and I haven't really done anything with it. It's exposed right now, so it dries, and haven't been real worried about it. But since we're putting the fuel tank covers on, I feel like maybe moisture could get caught in between somehow and just sit there. And I don't want it affecting the tank, rusting it out or anything like that. So I got the color match paint pen from Advent Black, so we're going to touch that up a little bit. I'm not a body man or a painter at all, and frankly I don't need it to look perfect. I just want it to be more protected. So I'm going to put some of that on, and then while that's drying we're going to remove the tank badges from the stock Harley-Davidson tank. I'm hoping just a heat gun and some fishing line is going to do the trick, but we need to get into that first. So I have already washed the bike and kind of cleaned up this area a little bit. Good enough in my opinion. And this is Superior Blue paint. And there's two different ways you can use this. There's a paint tip here, or if you unscrew the cap there's an actual brush. I'm going to try to just dab this in here a little bit. I think we're going to need to use the brush because it is a decent sized paint chip, but I'm going to try this to start. So when you're doing this, you just want to dab from the video I watched Steve do from Advent Black, or I don't know if it was on his channel or if it was on this if it was on the Advent Black channel or if it was on the Sick Baggers channel, but he just kind of dabbed it in here, and that seems to be working pretty well. I might not really need the brush, especially since we are going to be covering this up. We just want to fill that in a little bit. It looks better than the chip did, I think. Now that that's done, the badges are off, we've got our paint chip taken care of, we're ready to remove the dash. Now I do have a new dash coming to get rid of this chrome and this horrible fuel fill door. This is the worst design. I don't know why they did this. I hate it. But anyway, this whole dash is going to be replaced, but I don't have it yet, so we're just going to remove it, set it aside for now. We'll start out right here at the back of the tank. This is a 3/8 nut, and then at the front here we have a 5/32 hex bit, and the best way to get to that is you can kind of move your handlebars out of the way. Pretty easy, pretty basic. Unscrew your fuel cap, and we can lift the dash off. Now if you look at the front of your tank, right in this area here, which is not very easy to point out to you guys, but there'll be a rubber cap on each side, and you can pull that cap away and that's going to reveal this bolt. So you need to remove this bolt on each side of your tank. And actually, if you want to remove these wind deflectors, it's a T25, it makes it a little bit easier to get in there. And if I remember correctly, this is a T30. Seems like a 1/2-inch socket is the way to go on this. Alright, and with all that removed, we can go ahead and put our side covers on. Start these front bolts loosely. That'll hold it on and give us an idea of how it's going to look. And then you just really want to squeeze this together in the center and get these screws, these bolts and nuts snugged up. So we'll tighten these up a little bit more, and then we'll kind of eye things up and make sure that everything is as straight as possible. There's a seam right down the center of your tank, so you can line up that seam with where the tank covers come together, and that should get you pretty close to where you need to be. So I'm gonna finish getting this kind of put together, kind of put the seat on and see how things are looking. The biggest things to kind of look at here is there may be a gap, like on this, we've got more of a gap on this side. We can try to kind of shimmy this tank cover a little bit and see if we can kind of close that gap a little bit. Once we're pretty happy with how the tank looks, you can go ahead and snug up those two front bolts. So you can still use this tank cover, no problem, as long as you're willing to sacrifice your CB, but you need a different dash. We're done with this project until the new dash shows up, and unfortunately that means I'm done riding until the new dash shows up. Hopefully it's coming tomorrow. I don't know. This dash will definitely not work, which is fine with me because I hate it. But if anybody wants to buy an Ultra dash, so basically what I'm saying is we're at a standstill, and this is where it's going to sit until the new dash comes. Alright, so basically that's it. That's how to install the stretch tank covers. Now, obviously we can't put the old dash back on. We gotta wait for the new one, so I feel like the project isn't really complete, and that stresses me out. So basically this is a pretty easy install. It's not bad at all. The toughest thing is just getting everything like lined up right, but if you leave everything nice and loose, you're able to kind of wiggle the tank cover back and forth and get it into position. The main thing is just keeping that gap on each side of the seat as even as possible, and then you're good to go. Tighten everything down and you're basically ready to rock and roll, assuming your dash fits. So bottom line is the thing can be installed on an Ultra, no problem, but you're going to need a different dash, and other than that, that's about it. And I think that you should be changing that dash anyways, because it's horrible. It really is horrible. So I think the tank is going to take some getting used to, because it's very wide down at the area between your legs, and that's going to be a little bit different to get used to, but not horrible, I don't think, but just something to be aware of. The other thing that should be noted is it does work with the mid-frame air deflectors, no problem, or heat shields as I like to call them, which I love, so I'm glad that the tank is compatible with that. And it's also compatible, of course, with their extended side covers, which, just a heads up, we're going to be throwing those on in the next video as well, so be watching out for that. That's going to really finish off the look of this bike and give it that truly custom look that I'm going for on this build. Just the long, stretched out bagger. The bikes that I used to go to bike shows for, the bikes that you used to have like fabrication knowledge and auto body and paintwork knowledge of to even consider having a bike like this. Now, if you have a few $1,000s and a couple hours to spend online researching and ordering parts, you can do this on a Saturday afternoon in your garage with a limited amount of tools. You can actually build a custom bagger now, color matched, ready to go. It's so cool, so cool. So that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. I've got a mess to take care of. We'll catch you in one of the upcoming episodes, and we'll get this thing finished up and ready for the 2022 riding season. Stay safe out there as always. Have a good one, and I will catch you in the next episode of Touring Midwest Garage. Peace.